And we're back with Danny Day from The Informant and the book White Hot Hate. We had just left off where you had been doing some surveillance with Patrick Stein, and you had just talked to the FBI later that night, finding out that Robin was surveilling you, surveilling the Somalians with Patrick Stein. So let's pick it up from there.
Yeah, I found out. Actually, I didn't find out until the next day when we met in person with Amy and Robin. They told me that, I was like, well, you kid told me that night. It made me feel a little better. It took a little bit of heat off me, but and that was the only time I ever had with anybody surveillance.
Yeah, we'll get to that one later.
So I was on my own.
We're going to get to that one later.
But they took everything I said, and I was like, man, you're getting like, are they going to believe me? Are they going to, I just.
Are you talking about the FBI
The
agents?
FBI, that's when, Satan put doubts in my head. It's like, are they going to believe that I just almost had to kill the guy to save these two lives? And, I would have been perfectly
within
as
your
far as
right.
the law. The law in Kansas and the FBI always told me, if you have to shoot somebody to save a life, you do it, And I was never like, I ain't gonna ever have to do that. And then I tell him that, and I'm like, part of my mind's like, are they gonna believe me? And and I never told them anything. Right. So they thankfully they did believe
They
me.
took you seriously on every turn.
100%. And like I said, that they're like, throughout it, they would test me and make sure I was telling the truth and I wasn't just making up stories.
How would they do that? Would they make you tell the story over and over and make sure there was no inconsistency?
They had some way. Actually, I can't talk about that.
Okay.
They had.
Understandable.
I think it's a common thing they do for informants or human sources.
Yeah.
To verify that it's not. They're not just giving them a line or telling, doing something illegal themselves, or because I'm out there myself. They don't have eyes on me,
Right. And we had talked about this. I think we talked about this before we started taping this. Now there is a part where you can't instigate anything.
Right.
But if somebody does instigate something, you can roll with it.
Right.
So, and that's very important for this coming up for the rest of this story and for everything that goes on here. That's very important because you could have messed up really easily.
Right.
So,
and that's something every day I'd ask him, how am I doing? Am I doing okay? Did I cross the line? There were times when I was like, did I screw up there? They're like, no, they already knew about the mosque. They knew that from the other militia.
Right.
Like, oh yeah,
Okay.
They're taking detailed notes, and like I say, it's not more than a recording device at that time.
Right. And what did Rob say about the surveilling you?
So he just just let me know that he was there.
He was just there. So, but he didn't take anything from that, or
well, there wasn't much for him to see. Just see us sitting in the vehicle. He didn't know what.
Okay.
If he would have seen a firefight break out, then he could do something. But that's one time I wish they would have told me he was there, so I would have realized.
Now, how many? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying. Actually, it's probably good that I didn't relax. That I wasn't.
I was going to say once you find out you've got something, you've got a backup.
You got to be in your top game.
Yeah, and here you had to stay in character.
Right. I had to keep up this persona.
Yeah.
Indian found out I was working with the FBI. Because they hated the FBI, and a lot of times they wouldn't talk on the phone because, hey, the FBI is looking, or the NSA, or they're listening to us,
Right.
and so they all hated the FBI.
Right. How many more times did you hang out with Patrick?
Okay, that was the start. That's when he had asked me to join his militia.
Now, did he ask anybody else out
No.
of this? Nobody else came
No.
along.
He had asked me, and we had a meeting. We met, like, he was from like Dodge, and we like met halfway at Ingles or someplace, and we just sat and we talked about it a little bit. And he was like, "Well, what did you decide?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that sounds good." It's like, he said, "You guys sound like you actually do stuff." And he's like, "Oh yeah, we do stuff." And so I was like, "Yeah, I'm tired of running around these guys, man. And I want to do something, you know. It's fucking cockroaches, you know."
Right.
And he's like, "Hell yeah, because that's me as a Christian saying that, I couldn't let that, I couldn't. But to me, that's totally out for my character.
Absolutely, yeah.
But to me, I had to play it up.
You had to
and
play the role.
That made me more valuable to them.
Yeah.
And
Now, did you have to have a break with the other militia group, with the local, or did you just leave?
I just left, and then he just kind of like did his own gaming things for several months. There's a couple interesting stories about when he found out, how he found out, but he just thought everybody was going to kiss his feet, and he was the general and the or whatever. And so I did. I was like, yeah. And he goes, what do you want out of this deal? And I'm like, damn it, the only thing I want to do, I want to be informed. I don't want to be kicked back, set back, and higher ups. I don't need a title. I don't want a damn title. I don't even want a title, I just want to be informed. If I'm going to be part of it, I want to be part of it.
Right.
If you got to do something, I'm going to do it with you.
Right.
I don't want to be like these other dumbasses over here that they're all talking, no do, and I'm ready to do something, man. That's what I got in this first place, And he's like, hell yeah, all right, man, right on, brother. And he's like, you're in, man. And so like I say, every time I meet with him, well, that's a.
And there was no vetting you? They didn't have anybody vet you or anything like that?
Well, at the time, later on, I found out he actually ran like an internet background check on him.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it said everything, he knew I was a former probation officer, and he knew I had lived in Oklahoma, and that stuff you can get on the internet. Really, he paid for it, $20-$30 for a.
Right. The FBI put anything up, or
no.
So it's not like 24,
no.
where they make a whole new thing for you.
Okay, which is a good thing, because he was very suspicious, and I had to be myself. I couldn't, if I would have tried to be somebody else, and because my name was still never going to come out. I still was like, my name's never going to come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll tell people this, and they're going to laugh and make, yeah, right,
Right.
I used to joke around, tell big tales, and I mean, just mess around, but so I go back and tell, I'm in. They knew. They're telling me, yes, join it, and but the next day after that, I get a call from a guy, Curtis Allen, and he's like, "Hey man, I just wanted to welcome you aboard to the militia, the state
organization, or
to the militia." My mind went blank on the name. Kansas Security Force, 3%. He's like, I'm the commander of the Western thing. I'm like, you are? Who's your name? I thought Patrick Stein was. I was like, because I didn't tell him very much at Curtis. I was like, he lived in Liberal.
Mm-hmm.
He did security alarms going, different businesses, and I was like, I don't know who he is. I ain't gonna say that much. I was just like, yeah, and nice to meet you. And I hang up and I call Patrick Stein back, and I'm like, who is this guy? He's like, oh, that's our commander. I'm just the XO, executive officer.
Yeah.
He didn't bother to tell me. In his mind, all the way through, he was the commander, basically. Patrick Stein was.
Patrick Stein was the
No, well, literally and technically, he was the executive officer,
Mhm.
second command.
right.
But he liked to take charge of stuff.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes Curtis Allen had a military background, so he kind of put him in his place sometimes. But if he wasn't around, people think he was
Right.
the leader. So
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, I end up they wanted me to go to a overnight camp out at Lake Cheney over by Hutchinson.
Cheney. Okay.
Cheney. Overnight militia cookout, meet and greet, they call it. So the FPI was like, I have to go out there and spend the night, pitch my tent, and I still don't know I don't know any of these guys. Patrick Stein's the only one I know, and I get there and Patrick Stein's not even there, but Curtis Allen is,
Mhm.
and I meet him, and he's welcomed me in, and that's when they make me an official member, and basically just talking, meeting the other state leaders, and
How many people are there?
there's probably 40, 50
Really?
people. Not all of them, spent the night there.
Mhm.
There's probably 20, people. They had a big smoker. They smoked ribs and briskets, and that big thing. So, but I'm sitting there sleeping one eye,
Yeah.
one eye open, get my gun, and everybody's open carrying anyway. I still ain't. Everybody's in camouflage. I
Never did the camouflage.
no.
thing?
I
Besides the Chiefs hat. But.
yeah. That's yeah. But yeah, that was my, that's where I met a lot of the contacts, and because I didn't really want to go spend the night with this, and Patrick Stein showed up that night too.
Oh, he eventually
he
showed
did
up.
he did show up. So and then what they wanted me to do, they started wanting me to go through the militia that I left and pick out the best people and recruit them and steal them for people that had good shots, or people I thought would go along with things or would bring something to the militia.
Right.
So that's what I do. I'd call them up and say, hey man, the leader's name was Jason in Dodge. It's like, Jason, he's kind of a prick, ain't he? And they're like, yeah, he is. I was like, well, I'll tell you what, man, I joined this other militia, and just want to know if you want to join up and stuff. And they're like, yeah. And there's husband, wives that do it. But Patrick Stein, before, the other militia, I vetted him, led him in, and told him that, they were good. If there was a red flag or something, I'd tell him, nah, you don't let him in, man. He's not be a good fit or whatever. But Patrick Stein would come down, and if I told him there was a red flag and there wasn't somebody that shouldn't be in there, he'd like, all right. But if I told him, hey, I got these people that want to be in, he'd drive down, middle of the night, whatever, take them out, and talk to him and vet him himself.
Yeah.
His number one thing, he wanted to know, how do you feel about Muslims? Not Somalians, how do you feel about Muslims? And they're like, you know, he explained to him how they're cockroaches and they're going to take you can't get just rid of one of them. You got to kill all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're cockroaches, you know. And his handle was Orchid Man, you know, the exterminator, you know.
Right.
He's going to go exterminate all the fucking cockroaches, you know. And there was a couple there that live in town, real close by here. They're a real good Christian family, and you know, and I invited them in, but I was like, gosh, Patrick's gonna scare him off, man. You know,
Right.
he gets out a little thing of the Korean, and he flips through there, and he tells them this and that, and they're like, oh, really? Wow, okay, yeah, we're in. You know, we're in. Yeah, those freaking cockroaches. You know, they're calling them cockroaches too, and I'm like, he just flipped this whole. You know, I mean. You know, they're Christian and then, you know, Muslim, you know, different beliefs, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But regular good
but-
Christian folks were being flipped by Patrick.
yeah, which was kind of amazed me. I mean,
Right.
the way he could talk, you know, he had some skills. I mean, he wasn't just all, you know, stupid, you know. He had some, unfortunately, he had some,
Sway.
yeah. And, and that was just one example where he did that. But so basically, I stole all his good members from Jason, this other guy, and
Right.
we got our own militia going and started having a real militia, you know,
Right.
build the numbers up, because they had nobody. It was just
How many did you get in, do you think?
there's probably about 20 of them
20?
that and they got in.
Okay.
So that was very, because I mean that was.
Now, how long did this, oh, boy, I keep hitting this thing. How long did that take to accomplish over that?
Probably, I mean, it was ongoing, but probably, you know, the majority of them the first couple months.
Okay, so right now, we're
A lot
about
of
a
the
year,
song
are we
things
about
were-
a year into this now?
Yeah,
Or are you about a year
over.
into it?
Yeah, we're over a year into
Okay.
it. And the timelines I get in my head, they're mixed up, but yeah, it's about that
Okay.
long. And anyway,
What does the FBI say about this right now?
well, they're
Right.
like, you know, they're paying attention, and they're like, all right, you know, let's see what happens.
Okay.
So far, they're not doing anything illegal yet. You know,
Mhm.
they're just, you know, talking. You can talk about killing somebody, but you can't take action. If you take action,
Yeah.
you got a plan. You make a plan. You got the resources. That's when it crosses the line. You know, otherwise it's freedom of speech. You know.
Mhm.
So anyway, well, obviously they made me their vetting officer, and then they also made me their intelligence officer. And Patrick Stein, he was, he would call me every day, and he'd talk 2 or 3 hours. I mean, just talk about everything. I mean, this was a full time job for me at this, basically.
Mhm.
And you know, they said, you know, I'm a paid informant. Excuse me. I was actually at the time that my son was having like little landscape jobs, and I like bought and sold stuff. I started to take just like a month off and do this, which ended up to be. Luckily, I had the time. If I would have been working a full-time job, I couldn't have did this.
Right.
But I had to make money, bring it in. You know, it was easy on Facebook to buy and sell stuff, and cars and guns, and you know, I mean, legally.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
legally sell guns. I wasn't, you know, gun runner, but
right.
but they made me their intelligence officer, and you know, basically the same thing. They had more conspiracy theories, and these guys were really serious about. I mean, they believed everything, and so it's getting more organized. We're having more meetings every night at 9 o'clock on the Zello. Get on your phone, and everybody logs on. That was a requirement.
Right.
They wanted to check in, make sure nobody got kidnapped, by the government or whatever, and
Right.
and if anybody had any new intel, and they get in there and they just go on ranting and raving about Patrick had every of them. They all had Somalians anyway to start with, but then Muslims, and they'd say what they're going. Well, we should just cut a pig's head off and that thing again.
Right.
Or send a live one through their apartment complex and put Big's blood on their door, which would have been a hate crime actually.
Mm-hmm.
Which they actually did get charged with that also, but yeah, it was getting more organized.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another guy, Gavin Wright. He was the third. Well, there's four of us. The Crusaders. That's what they call.
Right. So let's get the names. There's Gavin, and then there was Patrick, yourself, and then
right.
And who was the other
Curtis
one?
Allen.
Curtis.
He was from Liberal.
Okay, Curtis was, and he was the head.
And Gavin Wright actually lived in Liberal. Also, they'd set up a mobile home dealership over there.
Right.
So everybody's talking every night, and I'm like, Patrick's calling me after there, and 2, 3 in the morning. I'm not tired, and then the FBI wanted me to start recording the Zello call.
Mm-hmm.
So they just gave me a basic little recorder where this one time where I almost screwed up really bad. Every time before I would the Zello call, I would say, I had a code name from the FBI, the Minuteman,
Mm-hmm.
that the FBI was supposed to, in all their documents they used, that ain't what, Minuteman militia. I didn't make it up, they did.
Right.
I would clean up something cool. Yeah. But anyway, they wanted me to start recording because other militias from other parts of the state and other in Georgia would get on and talk and stuff they were really interested in. They weren't privy. I didn't know everything that why they wanted stuff to do with the other militias and stuff.
Right.
I just concentrated on my job.
Right. That's me. Sorry.
So where was I?
I don't know. Let's stop right there, just real quick, because I got to go to the bathroom anyway, and I'm going to shut that phone off. I'm sorry about